Hey guys, gals, and MBs. So I'm here today with the Qi Etherealizer from Walrus Effects. This is apparently, Yvette Young's signature pedal. I am not too familiar with her music, but from what I've heard, it's actually pretty good. So that said, let's kind of get into it. And so I've had this probably for less than a half an hour now to actually play around with it. I just got it pretty much, and I've been playing around with some of the settings. Most of the time took me to set up the video, but let's just kind of explore together. I got it to make sounds, so I guess we can go from there. So I got this patch. I don't want to copy Devin because he used the teo-5 in his video for the Qi as well. I'll link his video. His video is what sold me on the pedal, but I'm going to use this patch. So amongst a few others, but this one seems to work really well to see what's going on. So yeah, let's go to the first effect, which is, this goes from the right to the left. So it goes from the input to the output. So input on the right, output on the left. And so we're not bypassed. But none of the effects are turned on right now. So let's go ahead, and to turn on and off an effect, you hold down the button. And I figured that out immediately, so it's super intuitive. I've only used the manual for one thing so far. All right, so nothing's happening yet because we don't have a mix going. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and go about halfway. We're in the try mode. And I think that is a fantastic sounding chorus. Probably one of the best I've actually heard, which is shocking coming from a multi-effect. One thing I will say, as much as I like the polychrome, I didn't really like the doubler feature on there. I know it's not technically a chorus, but I really didn't like the modulation section at all on the polychrome, which is unfortunate because the microcosm lives as one of the best pedals I've ever owned. But yeah, very good sounding lush chorus. I mean, let's turn up the depth. We can go high. I like going like that on depth and then turning down the rate. Sounds really gorgeous, very lush. It's great. Let's go into the stereo chorus. Both modes are absolutely gorgeous, and I would use them for sure. So already one thing that this has replaced for me is practically any chorus. So, I mean, I was pretty gung-ho about the Ola from Strymon, which I still think is a great standalone chorus, but I really don't need something like that anymore. I mean, let's hear it in contrast to like what's in here. It's kind of subtle but lovely. It's like that MXR rack mount unit. I can't think of the name of it right now, but the flanger doubler. I mean, you don't have a feedback control on it, but So that's an absolutely gorgeous sounding chorus, and both modes are cool, and they both sound great. It's not like one mode I would use over well, I would use a different mode, obviously, depending on what I'm doing, but it's not like I'm going to dismiss one mode over the other because I could both use them. All right, so the next section is a little on the boring side, but it's just a delay, but it's a very long and good sounding delay. So let's just listen to that. Unfortunately, one thing I don't like is you have to hold down the switch to get the effect to turn on. It should be immediate. If it's off, Walrus could probably fix that in a firmware update. If Walrus is actually watching this video at all, please make it so that when an effect has been bypassed, to turn it back on, you just have to press and not hold again to get it in, because I think that'd be a lot easier. And as far as I know, I'm not using tone control, am I? Hold on. Okay, so let me turn up the tone control. So we have a filter on the very end of that. One thing that I should bring up that's actually quite interesting is that they use a Cortex M7 now instead of like a Shark DSP or something along those lines to do that. And that's kind of interesting to me. Not that it's bad. The Cortex M7 is actually a very powerful DSP, but the Shark series of processors, I mean, everybody's using an ARM processor. Well, no, I shouldn't say everybody, but like Strymon switched to ARM and things like that. The thing that I find amusing as somebody who's done some or did a little bit of DSP work in the past is the Shark DSPs are very good at filtering. They can do a lot of filtering style mathematics without very many clock cycles. And the M7 requires quite a bit more to do filtering, like something like a low pass filter, you know, and so forth and things like that. But I mean, the processor's powerful enough to just handle everything that they're doing with this pedal. It's just an interesting thought. It's like where Shark kind of shines is filtering algorithms. Like delays and reverbs you can do pretty well on the M7, but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of just found that amusing. That's all. But yeah, so it sounds a little darker. That's what I was going to get at. I had to make sure that the tone control was all the way open. It's a nice sounding filter, by the way, but the frequency response or the sampling rate of this pedal is only 32 kilohertz because they've really kind of tailored it for guitar, I'm assuming. It's kind of like guitar and bass. I assume that's where they're going with it. But it makes the delay a little on the darker and lo-fi sound, but it's great. Interesting if you go all the way wet with the last control, you still, even if you go 100% hear it with the delay, you still get a dry signal in it. I don't know if that's intended or that's how the delay line works or it's something I just discovered. Not a big deal. Just be aware of that. So yeah, as the two utilities in this that you really get, the chorus and the delay, they're very bog standard, but they both sound very good. And obviously, because I am now in series mode, I didn't do the parallel mode, I should say. Since I'm in series, we go from the input through the chorus, through the delay, through the granulizer or something, and then we go through the space and filtering section, so reverb and filtering. As far as I know, there's no way to mix it up. I hope that in the future there's a way to do it just like the polychrome that makes this infinitely more powerful. But I do like the signal flow, and this is the signal flow I would personally use. So it's not like a big deal. But yeah, that said, so now if I turn on this, let's just hear it with let's turn that on, make sure it's on. Now it'll go through the delay. So you'll hear the delay now will have the chorus sound. And as far as I can tell, if you listen there, the delay is fully stereo. It doesn't sound like it's collapsing it at all. All right, so let's go ahead and turn off the chorus. Let's turn off the delay, and let's go to my favorite section. Well, the reverb sounds really nice too, and it really plays along with the next section, and that's the granulizer. I haven't used the phrase sampler, and I'm not going to in this video because I just don't know how it works, and I don't want this to be a very long video, but I will in the future. So let's go ahead. I have this in random mode, which means it'll pick either normal playback, 2x playback, half playback, and reverse, and it'll kind of swap between them. And this is how long the grains are. So let's do that. Let's just go here. Now just reverse. Half speed. Two times speed. And all the modes are super useful for what I like to do, so that's great. So that's with everything so far combined. Really cool, huh? And then we have a freeze function for that too. So very, very cool and very good sounding. Everything sounds fantastic. All right. So let's go to the last section, and that's the reverb. And you know, I'm a reverb snob. And I actually think the reverb on this sounds really good. It is a modulated hall. I'm going to say it's a modulated hall. I didn't really look at the copy blurb on it. I think that's what it is. It definitely has modulation going on in it, and it's definitely large. It's definitely diffused. So let's do that. So that's the amount of time. So if you hear there, so if you carefully listen, you can hear the modulation happening inside that, the reverb network, whatever they're doing to it. It almost sounds like it is a multi-tap delay that's diffused again. Yeah, so that definitely sounds like it has modulation to it. There's no other way around it. It doesn't have that stagnant sound to it of it just echoing back with some diffusion. So it's a little bit on the what's the word, quick side. It decays very quickly, but I think if you throw the delay in front of it, it'll be fine. Let's try that actually. Should we? Let's do that. Let's go to quarter. So that works as the master mix as well as the space section. So that's pretty cool, and it sounds really good. And then let's just do the tone control really quick. So let's turn that off. If you listen to it very carefully, listen while I'm doing the going through it, I think there's a little tiny bit of resonance in there, just a tiny bit. So as reverb algorithms go, it's definitely not the best I've ever heard, but it's also not bad. I will say it's miles better than the reverb algorithm on the polychrome, unfortunately. Not quite as good, or not even, well, I wouldn't say not close, but it's not as good as the reverb on like the microcosm, for example. And it's not even in the ballpark of what the night verb can do, So let's turn on the grain section. I think a lot of people would pick this up to use the grain section along with space, even if they don't like any of the other things in it, and it sounds really good. Watch this. So let's do this. Let's turn on the grain mode. It's like instant orchestra, basically. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Let me try to find my flute patch. I think this is it. No, it is. Flutes tend to sound really weird with chorus, so let's not bring that in. But I'll bring the delay in. Oh, it has trails. Ooh, didn't know that. Gotta see how to disable those, but yeah, let's Let's listen to it. This is what it sounded like before. That's literally what we started with, just that. Gorgeous, no? All right. Let's do one last thing before I call this quits. I mean, it's a weeknight, it's a Monday, so I can't really spend too much time on it. I was just really excited to get it and wanted to make a video to share my enthusiasm with other people. So let's just go to the pad I have here. There's no chorus or anything on it. That chorusing you hear is quote-unquote natural chorusing happening from the beating of the oscillators because I have them slightly detuned to each other. And the stereo spread is just happening in the VCA. Well, the virtual VCA. Because that's one of the things that's digital on the teo-5. And we have a weird tuning going here, so... So let's start with the chorus, and I think it sounds great. We'll use the tri-chorus. Bring in a little bit of delay. Like I said, that needs to have... It has a press to start. Come on, Walrus. I'll do an octave split so this is really low. God, that's with none of the pitch effects or reverb yet, and that already sounds great, doesn't it? Let's bring in the green. Again, that's... So cool. All right. Let's bring in that reverb. Amazing. I love that. So yeah, just to show you, that's what we started with, and again, this is what we ended up with. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of my first looks at the Qi Etherealizer by Walrus Audio. It's fantastic. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, I've only been with it for like an hour now, maybe total. How long is this video? It's like 25 minutes long at this point. I'm looking over my screen. And there's not much more I can say about it. It's absolutely like excellent and fantastic in every way so far. How's the build quality? Fantastic. The only thing I don't like, and this is kind of just a Walrus thing in general, the hole that they drill in to put the power supply in is recessed, so you have to really have a pedal that is or not pedal, sorry, power supply that will fit in there just fine. So something with a large connector, so like a Boss PSA 120 won't fit easily into it, but like the Dunlop 9-volt center negative power supplies work just fine, and that's what I'm powering it with right now, and it's absolutely dead silent in terms of like interference and noise. The only other thing that I don't like about it is the fact that MIDI is through TRS jacks. I see it's I don't know how else to put it. I mean, maybe they could have put MIDI ports on the side of it. I see that their new pedals, the like the D1 and the R1 Mark IIs, all have MIDI over TRS. It's kind of a shame because I don't have any of those connectors handy. And at least if you did that, maybe you should offer them in the box with the pedal. I mean, I'm just kind of nitpicking at that. Those are my only two downfalls with that. I love the black, though. This is actually surprising. That kind of leads me into the next thing I was going to say. One of the pedals that I do miss is the slower, and that is a lo-fi kind of reverb. I say lo-fi. Somebody jumped down my throat about like saying that. It's like, well, why is it lo-fi? Because the sampling rate of it is not very high, and it definitely has artifacting to it, but it sounds gorgeous in so many ways. I'm talking about the slower, the stereo version of the slow, and I love that pedal. It's fantastic. It's one of the ones I will pick up again very shortly because I need to make more videos with it, because it has a specific sound that I use in my kind of music. The thing is, the reason I bring that up is this black is better than I thought it would be, so I'm assuming that it's the same color scheme on the slower, so I'm probably going to get the black version of that, even though I think the character version on it, the blue with the characters and the moons and everything, is gorgeous, but this black is just amazing. And it's just like the reverb on this is so good, maybe I wouldn't need it, but like the modulation characteristics of the slower are actually kind of great, so I just want to bring that up. So yeah, the only other thing that I could say on this is maybe a secondary function for the space settings to have pre-delay or something like that, and maybe some option to change the modulation, like to make it less or more. That could be something you could do in the future, but I don't know. Other than that, the pedal seems to be pretty damn perfect out of the box. Yeah, it's a little steep on the price point. It's a bit more than the polychrome. It's $50 more than the polychrome, but I think personally, and I don't want to say this because I like hologram electronics a lot, but I think this is, for me at least, it's the polychrome killer. It's not the same thing. It doesn't do the lo-fi cool, like warbly stuff, but I think for me, I will probably endeavor down the road to get a Generation Loss Mark II again at some point, because it's more up my alley for what I was going to use the polychrome for, but the polychrome has a lot of other little quirks that I don't specifically like about it, and it's a little more complicated to use than just a standalone lo-fi pedal. So I don't think I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison video. The only reason I'm bringing up the polychrome, because it's kind of the same idea. It's a multi-effect with independent controls for each of the sections in a semi-compact pedal, a semi-compact stereo pedal with MIDI and things like that. But I think the polychrome is more geared at your vanilla like modulation tones and things like that, and delay tones and maybe lo-fi tones, where this is more of an ambient toolbox. It's like, the best thing is this is more like a microcosm than the polychrome is like a microcosm, I should say. This will not replace my microcosm in any way, shape, or form. Again, I'm just singing the praises about the microcosm. Like I said, I used it last night for a little bit of time. I don't think I brought that up, but I did, and I was really enamored by it. I remembered why I liked it so much. But that said, I think I'm going to make a video where I stack the two. I think they will stack phenomenally well, an ambient pedal into an ambient pedal. So, and that leads me into, I am potentially at the, well, I'm not even potentially at this point. The polychrome is going to go, unfortunately. It's just not for me. I mean, I could squeeze some really good tones out of it, but yeah, like I said, that's money that I could spend on a Generation Loss Mark II. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching. I really enjoy this. I hope it's not going to be like the thing this might turn out to be one of those things where it's like the teo-5. I have quite a few other synths, but I just bring out the teo-5 all the time because I love it so much. And, yeah, I just, the Qi kind of feels like it's going to be the same thing. The Qi and the microcosm. I used the microcosm a lot on some unreleased tracks, but now I know why. But I should pair the two and see how they work. And then maybe I could do like this super ambient pedal, like not shootout, but like combination where I put the Qi microcosm together and then throw it into the night reverb. I think that might just be amazing, or it might be too much. So we'll see how that works. That's going to be really interesting to film, but at least with my new camera setup, I have a pretty wide field of view, so that might be doable. And of course, it'll use the teo-5. I actually need to start using the multi-poly some more, because that thing is fantastic, especially for PPG wave style sounds. And I will bring out the Summit again. The reason I don't bring out the Summit so much is it's because it's huge, and it's like I kind of save the Summit for special occasions. The teo-5, as weird as it sounds, has turned into my like modern mini log. Or back in the day, I used to use the MS-2000 a lot because it was so easy to like get sounds out of it, and then the mini log was easy to get sounds out of. This thing is phenomenally easy to get sounds out of, so you see it in a lot of videos. I will say that this sounds like miles better than the Minilog or Minilog XD or the MS-2000 ever did. But yeah, that said, it's just, like I said, simple and good sounding. Though I think the multi-poly, Korg nailed the sounds of like old synths with that thing. And yeah, like I said, I should make more videos. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like my content, go ahead and subscribe. And I will see you next time, where I probably plug that into a microcosm. Next video is definitely going to have the microcosm again. All right, bye.